The Cubs were on their way to their 7th straight win, and just like that, it was gone. Here we go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Cubs' momentum stopped on Monday. They led 3-0 going to the 8th inning, but Jorge Lopez allowed 4 runs, and the Pirates stormed back to a 5-3 win. Cubs are now 71-67, 3.5 games out of the third wild card spot. The Braves, who did not play Monday, are still in that spot, while the Mets are just a half game back. Sam, we're going to still outline a possible path to the postseason later in the show, but the Cubs' quest to really flip their season, I think, hit a major thud, at least momentarily, on Monday.
Unfortunately, Matt, I have some terrible news to announce as well that just got reported.
Okay.
Justin Steele has been scratched for tomorrow's start with left elbow soreness, and Kyle Hendricks will pitch. Yeah. Which really feeds into my point of what I was going to go with tonight. It just seems like this season, every time there is a little bit of light, a little bit of life, a little bit of hope, 2 games back, 3 games back, they lose the momentum in the most gut-punching way possible. On Monday in Cleveland, when they got within 3 games, they had a 3-0 lead. And similarly, you blink, you go make dinner, you do something, you come back, it was 8-3 Cleveland before they eventually lost that game. Today, you have a 3-run lead. And look, in a vacuum, you could say, well, they left a couple runs out there. Sure. This was the type of game with what the wind was doing, the conditions. 3 should have been enough. Jameson Taillon gave you a really nice outing. PCA made a key hustle play to set the table for Happ, who got a huge hit. And unfortunately, and I thought Boog did a really good job mentioning this in the broadcast, which I've kind of been hinting at this on the show for a while. Wrigley Field has just been a bad hitting environment this year. It's just, it feels like it. The games all feel the same. And, it just didn't feel like it was going to be a very high scoring game today. And Taillon throws 7 beautiful innings. You go to Jorge Lopez with 3 runs to spare, and disaster strikes. And, you hindsight's 2020. It's nobody's fault. Taillon wasn't realistically going to pitch an 8th inning. That's not a credible take from that game. Counsell did what he was supposed to do. And, you have a guy that was just on maybe the best run in all of baseball out of the bullpen, maybe not named Emmanuel Clase for the last couple of months. He gets a groin injury. Mm-hmm. And you saw on Saturday, we mentioned it briefly. I just didn't think he looked very comfortable. He just didn't look like the Jorge Lopez that was just running through guys and dominating. And to his credit or his defense, he gave up 2 really cheap hits to start the inning. Feeds right into, and you could just feel it, right? The second that Paredes couldn't make that play, which no, he couldn't have made. It was not possible. He did everything he could. You knew, and I tweeted out right away, I go, we'll be really lucky to escape this with the lead. And Reynolds hits a 3-run homer, and then McCutchen hits a homer. And then, Armstrong, who wouldn't have even pitched if the game was still tied, gives up another one. And you blink your eyes. And I agree. I mean, I know it feels really extreme after our podcast yesterday, but to the folks out there, it's September baseball. You're 3 games out. you can't lose a game like this at home to a team like that. Now, if they lost the game 7-2 and it was just one of those games that they were gonna get beat, you say, all right, they were due. We got to come back. But a game that you have in hand at this point of the season, it's tough. And I feel for him because I don't really think it was anybody's fault. Obviously, Lopez was the guy, but it feels cruel. Feels like a cruel result for this team. And they deserve better tonight, and it didn't happen.
Well, it's especially cruel if Justin Steele has a serious injury.
Yeah, right.
That's major. I hope it's something that's shorter term than that. I know there was a scare at one point last summer that was separated by an off day, and Steele ultimately avoided the worst, but that was a forearm.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see on that. Any injury that's not an arm injury is, I'm always like, all right, with pitchers, and this is not. So hopefully this is a precaution, and we find out more when the clubhouse opens on Tuesday. I have to say, I had all, my outline was done.
Yeah.
Had a really nice thumbnail.
Had a really good plan for the show, man.
Playoff Dreams was the subhead.
No, hurts.
And man, I didn't. I thought maybe these days were behind them, and so that's. I think that's why it hurts, because I think a lot of times on this show, sometimes we're miscast for negativity.
Yeah,
because we're telling the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts. But I'm holding on to all the positivity that I have. Entering again, you said it, our episode for today, hottest team in baseball, a lot of enthusiasm. I really wanted, this to continue, and maybe it still will, but to be up 3 with 6 outs to go with Lopez and Hodge,
against this team,
warming up against a lowly Pirates team, I thought the script was written. And it's, that's, I know the game's not played on paper, but I'm more disappointed than I thought. I think, again, this is a spot where you could also do the big picture reflection. Other more opportunities to try to, I guess I would say, foolproof the team for 2025. But, these really did add up this year. There's been over 20 of these. Let me get an official count, here in a second. But, it just overshadows other stuff. Like there was the PCA beating a force out.
Mm-hmm.
Bush made a nice diving play. Tyone, 7 scoreless, 3 hits. It's just it's a thud. It's a big thud.
Yeah, and you just constantly get reminded just how quickly this game could humble you. And you'd think Cub fans, because of 2003, would know that lesson, right? How quickly a 3-run lead can go.
Right.
And yet here I was. I watched the game tonight. I watched about the first 4 or 5 innings at my mom saw him take a 3-0 lead, drove back, was listening to Zaidman, and it's like just felt comfortable.
Yeah.
Saw Nico get a leadoff double, and he's like, all right, we didn't cash that, but let's go to Lopez here. This feels like, and I even tweeted out about the first or second inning, or whenever Dansby's homer was, I tweeted out, I said, first to 3 feels like the night tonight.
Right.
I felt like it was that type of night. And, it just flips. And I thought like Boog and JD, it's like sometimes with them, and I know this seems like a real reach tonight, but it's just like after last September, I when those couple guys got on and then the homer and then in the 9th, Boog's talking like about pickleball and stuff, like Like it just does. It just feels like it's just so tone deaf sometimes. Like that 8th inning, this is a moment. The Cubs are playing meaningful baseball, and tonight was a meaningful game. And I know it's very easy for people to go, "Oh, they weren't going to do this or whatever." This was an important game tonight. If they won that game, they're within 2.5 of a playoff spot.
Right.
You don't know what can happen in baseball. And now you got Kyle Hendricks against Paul Skeens, and
for the third time.
Yeah, you have to find a way to win the next 2, and it makes it so hard after a game like that, and it's just so tough. It's so tough, and a part of you just kind of says it's just this has been the season. These type of losses, and but I feel for Lopez. He's such a big part of why the Cubs had gotten back into this thing, and he just. These non-elite relievers, right? Take away the class A's, the haters. They get real hot. They're like field goal kickers, man.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
And then you miss one or something happens and it just changes. His stuff doesn't look as sharp. His location's not as sharp. It all changes. And to the people out there that'll say, hey, you guys were really happy yesterday. It's just one game. Not anymore, guys. It's September. You can't shake it off and move on. It's September. You have to, but it's just no matter what happens, that game stares you in the face. It's a tough one, and it's not Jed's fault. It's not Carter's fault. It's not Craig's fault. It's not anybody's fault. It was just a bad defeat that happens. It happens throughout the year, but because of the position the Cubs are in, it stings a lot more.
Yeah, and sometimes. There's references to like, this is, like there was one comment today, like about the show essentially being a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. Well, yeah.
That's how the year's been. And that's part of the love-hate relationship with this sport.
Right.
But that's how the season's been. Cubs up to 29 blown leads this year.
Late? Yeah.
29.
Yeah.
That's per Baseball Reference. So
yeah, and before we move forward, like this Steele thing, I want to comment on that. Whenever you hear a pitcher and elbow in the same sentence, it's extremely concerning.
Oh yeah.
Like that's like if you were to tell me right now before the game today, based on the Cubs playoff odds and next season, what would you rather have? A Cubs win? But if the Cubs win, Justin Steele has elbow soreness, or the Cubs lose like they did, but Justin Steele pitches tomorrow, I would take the latter.
Yeah. I want Justin Steele for March 17, 2025.
Yeah, and beyond.
Right.
So that's concerning.
Right.
Like you said, there's certain things as a
March
pitcher
18th.
there's a certain thing as a pitcher that hurts you, or worries you. But even like shoulder soreness, okay, bad, but not terrible. Lat, whatever. When you see elbow, because
right.
we know what elbow means. I'm not going to say them because we're not. We hope it's just minor, but elbow and TJ go together.
Yeah, and we said that out loud last year too. So
but last year they didn't announce it as elbow.
Right, it was forearm.
Yeah. So,
all right. Well, that's
24 hours. No, forget 24 hours. What was it about? I would say 8:15, 8 o'clock. I was about as excited as I've been all year. I mean, it's a cruel game. It's a cruel sport.
No, it was minutes. All right, well, coming up next, we're going to look at the Cubs, Braves, and Mets final stretches here. And maybe I'm going to try to do a couple things with this, including I think I'm going to try to pump everybody up.
Yeah,
cruel loss here. Steele might be out till 2026, but I'm going to try to pump everybody up.
No, don't joke about that.
Oh, okay.
Please.
No, well, I don't mean to joke, but I'm trying to laugh so that I accomplish my goal.
I know. I
wish Justin Steele all the best.
I'm just trying
actually students ask me my favorite player a lot, and I say Steele or Imanaga.
I'm just trying to absorb that the last hour we blew a 3-run lead to a bad team to hurt our momentum. And then after the game, found out that our best pitcher's elbow hurts and can't pitch tomorrow versus Paul Skeen.
Yeah, it kind of has like an opening day vibe.
Yeah, it's just
Back on March 28th,
it just feels like
which also involves Steele.
It just feels like it's not really like supposed to happen this season. So,
well, okay. You feel like this is another piece of evidence towards that.
yeah, it's just been a slew of this stuff, man.
Good word.
There should be, for all the analytic people out there that spend their time in front of the computer, there should be some sort of stat, quote, gut punch, end quote, losses, and find a metric for that and let me know how many we have.
Well, we could figure it out if we really want to. All right, coming up next, we look at the, believe it or not, the path to the playoffs.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. The experience of searching for and then buying tickets on Game Time is simple. Plus, Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Cubs play the Pirates at 6:40 p.m. Central Tuesday. You can hear every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast on Sirius XM by searching Cubs on the SXM app. Well, if this is just 5 to 10 minutes, whatever this segment ends up being, I'm going to allow ourselves, or at least, I'm going to allow ourselves to dream a little bit. Cubs have 24 games left. Braves have 25. Mets also have 24. And I'll admit, I'm conservative here on the part of the Braves and Mets. But if the Cubs go 17-7 the rest of the way, that puts them at 88 wins.
Is that including tonight's loss?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they go 17-7, that puts them at 88.
Mm-hmm.
If the Braves go 13-12, that puts them at 87.
Yeah.
And if the Mets go 12-12, that puts them at 86. Cubs have the 6th easiest schedule left in the NL. Braves have the 2nd easiest.
Yep.
So that's kind of flipped around a bit.
Yep.
And the Mets have the 2nd hardest. 9 of the Cubs' final 24 against the Yankees, Dodgers, and Phillies, all World Series contenders. Notable remaining games for the Mets is that 13 of their final 16 are with the Phillies, Braves, and Brewers. I think that's going to be a time that the Mets fall off. So let's say it's the Cubs and Braves. Okay, Braves' 10 toughest left are against Dodgers, Mets, and Royals.
Mm-hmm.
They do only have 2 days off compared to the Cubs and Mets 3. But I know it would have felt better. Trust me, it would have felt better after a win. But 17-7 with the Braves going 13-12, Mets going 12-12, given the schedules there that I'm trying to go through, it's not crazy. And I think to combat my conservatism, you could even set the Cubs bar at 18-6.
Mm-hmm.
And you might say, oh, that's a high bar, Matt. 12 games over 500. Well, the Cubs went 18-8 in August.
Yeah.
And they're 32-19 since July 4th. So it's, again, the math isn't in their favor, but I just wanted to lay it out. Cubs 17-7 gets them to 88. Braves 13-12 gets them to 87. And Mets really 13-11 gets them to 87. Or if you want to notch them a knockdown, it's again 12-12 gets them to 86. So that's the path. Maybe we we look back at this night as a momentary blip on the radar, but it's hard to right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think you laid it out well. I don't think we're at the point in the season where a loss feels like, oh, well, that was it. To me, that happened in July. What they've done since is just give you some hope, and play important games in September. So, if you're looking for a way out, like, I don't think we're going to look back on Monday night as, well, that's when the season ended. No, the season,
No.
the season ended when you went 22-39 in 2 months.
Well, and that's why I can't go to gut punch like you did.
Yeah, to me, it's still, when I think about a gut punch, I just think about somebody literally punching your gut, what you do. That's what I wanted to do when they blew that game.
No, but keep, I mean, what were you saying before that?
The point I was trying to make was just like, we may look at this as a blip. We may not. The fact of the matter is the Cubs have put themselves in a position where they have to play, like 670, 680, 690 baseball the rest of the way.
Right.
And, you laid it out, can the Cubs go 17-7? Well, I would go as far as to say tomorrow is basically like they're playing the Dodgers, because it's Skeens versus Hendricks again. So that's going to be a really challenging game. You'll have to win the finale. I think winning 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium is very doable. The Yankees have basically been an under 500 team now for 2 months. Going to Dodger Stadium's torturous, will be very difficult. Going to Chorus is not easy. Then you come home and you have a chance to eat against 2 bad teams at home. One team you just swept, and the Oakland A's. And then, you'll go to Philly. Maybe it won't be as important for them, but we ran through that last year with Atlanta, and that didn't go well. And then you finish the year where, I think your goal would be to find a way to get to the final series within a game, and then you sweep Cincy and hope Atlanta loses 2 out of 3 to KC, right? But there's a lot that needs to happen, and it's possible for sure. You're 3.5 out, and if you want to play this card, which I'm not going to play, but technically, so going into tonight's game, you were 3 back. Now you're 3.5 back. You had to finish a game ahead of Atlanta anyway. You don't have the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. So really being 3.5 back and 3 back are very similar, because you really have to make up 4 games, because if you finish tied, they have the tiebreaker.
You get a buffer, yeah.
But you had a chance to be within 2.5, so you could have been, within 3. So it was tough. But I think the Cubs have a great chance to take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees at Wrigley. I think the Cubs had a great chance to take 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh, but now it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, the Steele thing.
Yeah, it's a weird. We'll have to do more on that.
Overshadows the loss in my mind.
Yeah, it does, kind of. It kind of does, because even if they won, I think we'd be talking about that right now.
Especially because it's elbow. Like, if it was his back, I'd be like, so, okay, who cares?
Right.
Not that I'm careless about it, but just the arm. The arm's a different beast with pitchers.
The arm's a different beast, and then the elbow is a different beast to the arm. So.
All right. Well,
boy, this show really keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
Coming up next, we are going to close out with some trivia that seems.
Oh boy,
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could keep. We don't have to do it. We could keep talking about this, but
what's the question? I'll let you know if I want to do it.
Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you right now. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV-based plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payments, and you can cancel anytime. The Chicago Bears start the 2024 campaign this Sunday at Soldier Field out there on the lakefront against the Titans of Tennessee. Bears opened as a 4.5 point favorite. Now they're down to 4. I still have a lot of confidence in the Bears this week. Bears have all the pieces right now. Caleb Williams is the real deal. They're going to be really good real soon. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook at FanDuel. We're back here on Locked On Cubs, and before we get to trivia, reminder, our pregame hangout this Saturday, 11 to 1. Cubs will be losers of 4 straight going into that one. And almost home, Wrigleyville, 38-01.
There's gonna be a lot of foot traffic
North
between
Clark Street in Chicago.
college football bars, Cubs, Yankees on a Saturday. It's gonna be that's gonna be a poppin'.
It's going to be packed.
Yeah, it's gonna be packed. Is probably the right word that I was missing.
Which Cubs players hit the most career home runs in September? Who cares, right?
No, that's a good question. I'm always down for trivia, man.
No, it's stupid.
Okay, should I guess or?
No, go ahead. No, I'm frustrated, admittedly.
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, this is like a really hard question.
I hope Steele's okay. Iowa, by the way, only -2.5 against the Cyclones of Iowa State this weekend.
Illinois is over a touchdown underdog.
That's against Kansas, right?
Yeah,
2 basketball schools.
Yeah. Boy, I don't know where to go with this. I mean,
Can I give you a clue?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of
usual suspects.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so there's multiple?
Well, the top 3 looks
okay.
good. Yeah.
Sammy Sosa would be on there.
Yeah, he's 3rd with 73.
Wow, that's a lot of homers.
And the 2 guys hit more though.
I'll go with Ernie Banks.
He's 1st with 77. Who's 2nd?
And then smack dab in the middle, September home runs. I'm going to go with sweet swinging Billy Williams.
That's correct, 74. Ian Happ's the active leader with 30.
They got a long way to go, Ian. I saw some stat today about Willie Adames that he just passed Sammy. Did you see that?
I didn't. I just think he's going to be one of the top free agents this offseason.
He's hit I don't know what the exact stat was, but he passed Sammy Sosa. I think he's now 2nd or 3rd, and we still have a month to go for the most 3-run homers in one season.
Wow.
And he hasn't even hit that many homers. So it just shows you, I mean, he's hit a lot, but not like 50, you know what I mean? So it just shows you how many big, like clutch 3-run, what percentage of his homers have been such clutch homers. So I'm really kind of upset, man.
Right.
This was like a really good weekend. And it really just had a rough ending to it.
Well, and then to
I
preview the rest of the series, you were going to win the opener with Steele and Imanaga next.
Yeah.
And then you lost, and now no Steele.
Yeah, no, I like in the last hour or so, my mood went from like probably the best mood I've been in maybe since like late April.
When the Cubs were 17-9, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking, just like also like good life vibes. Like feeling good, like good life vibes. And now the Steele news and this loss and some nerve pain in my teeth has really kind of put me to if my boss is watching this, might be a good time to call off tomorrow. But I can't do that. So
thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs.
This was one of the tougher shows we've had to do. Let's say it.
Yeah. 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Sometimes we still get laughs in. Hit subscribe on YouTube. We're making the push to 11,000. Okay, smash the like button. Despite the
only
results.
laughing because I can't cry on air, folks.
And leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. All right, back tomorrow after the game. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.